Oh, don't mind me. I'm just counting my free $1,000 from the government. Woo! What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to the channel, Wealth Hacker Labs. I'm your gracious host, Jeff Rose. And this is one of those situations where if you do not act now, you may be missing out on a free $1,000 check, potentially up to $10,000 if you meet certain requirements. And I'll share what those requirements are here in a sec. On this channel here lately, we've done a lot of talk on the economic stimulus checks, the package, the CARES Act, and all the other bills that are being proposed in Congress. What we're talking about today is nothing new. It was just additional funding for the original CARES Act, especially when it comes to the Paycheck Protection Program. There's that PPP, but more specifically today, what we're talking about is the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan. So these were programs that were set aside for not just big corporations, but we're talking about small businesses, individuals that are self-employed, independent contractors, your ma and pa, homegrown stores that are struggling right now because they had to shut their doors because they've been quarantined at home just like the rest of us. And there was two different processes that you could go through as a small business. You could go through the Paycheck Protection Program, which I did, or you can go through the EIDL. Now with me, my personal experience is like with the Paycheck Protection Program, it was more of a stricter process. There was underwriting involved. I had to provide all this documentation as far as what my payroll was and independent contractors, which some people said they wanted to know and others said that they didn't. And all to be found out that by the time my application went through, the government ran out of funding. I know, so sad, but don't feel bad for me. So that was the more involved process. The easier process was completing the EIDL application. This was a much simpler process. There wasn't any underwriting involved, and most people that I know that completed the application in a timely manner got at least their $1,000 on up to $10,000. Now the key thing about this loan, and I'm using air quotations here because it's really not a loan, it is a grant. So if you got the money, they weren't expecting you to pay it back. That's why we're talking about free money, free $1,000. So how did you qualify? So if you were a business owner, if you owned a small business, if you were self-employed, an independent contractor, you had a side hustle that you're trying to make some money on the side, you could qualify. Every individual part of your business would make or get that $1,000 check. So if you're your own person, your own employee, you got $1,000. Let's say that your wife was also on the payroll, then you would get, you guessed it, $2,000. If you had on up to 9 employees, that would be $10,000, $1,000 for yourself, and then $9,000 for your 9 employees. So that's where the $10,000 comes into play. But the issue was that there was $350 billion that was set aside for the Paycheck Protection Program for the EIDL loans. And that sounds like a lot of money because it is, but all of that funding ran out in just over 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and the money was gone. It was gone. And that's why I didn't get approved. That's why I know other people didn't get approved. And we're all wondering, scratching our heads, like, when are the small businesses going to be taken care of? Because you're seeing companies like Shake Shack or Harvard University that are getting stimulus funding. But I know so many that have small businesses, that have employees they've had to lay off, that they're still waiting on getting a check. And herein lies the urgency of this message, of this video. It's because that Congress just approved additional funds for the Paycheck Protection Program, and more specifically for the EIDL loan. And right now I want to give a shout out to Meet Kevin. If you've not checked out his YouTube channel, he is going berserk right now, publishing 3 to 4 videos per day, and he is covering this extensively. And I'm giving him a shout out because he was the one that made me aware that this passed, this additional funds, and that President Trump today is going to be signing this back into law to turn this switch back on. But here is the kicker. It wasn't approved to have another $350 billion added to these programs. In fact, Kevin reported that it was only 10 billion that was added for the EIDL program. Now, I couldn't find that exact number, but what I did find, it was somewhere in that ballpark of 10 billion on up to 60 billion. So whatever the real number is, either way, it's not going to last long. If $300 billion was gone in just over 2 weeks, and if it's 10 billion or 50 billion, this thing is going to be gone in less than a week. So you want to make sure that you get your applications in immediately. So what you need to be doing is making sure that you have your computer or you have your smartphone and you have this URL saved so that you have it bookmarked, and once this application is turned back on, it is ready to go. This is the link where the application used to be. If you go there now, you'll see where it says, notice a lapse in appropriations. I don't know what's about that word. It just seems like the most inappropriate word to use, but whole other story. Chances are, as what Kevin reported, that this was the URL. This was the URL that he went through to complete his application. And the infrastructure is already in place. I mean, that's the whole point. They've already made this, they've already done this. So all they have to do is turn that page back on. And once they do, people are going to be flooding to this, completing applications, getting it submitted, and all that money is going to be gone if you don't act now. If you're not sure if you qualify for the EIDL loan, just go to the link I've shared in the description. It will share all the information that you need to see if you qualify. And if you're really not sure, once the page gets updated and the application is there, once you start going through the application process, you'll quickly see if you qualify or if you meet the criteria. But once again, like when this thing is turned on, I mean, the government, they're already printing money, right? But eventually this money, it's gonna run out. Come on, government, I need some more. Give me some more. All gone. I'm curious, if you were one of the original ones that applied to the EIDL loan, did you get your check? Was the process easy? I'm curious for those that are getting ready to go through it again. Can you offer any guidance? Can you offer any expectations on what they're going to be going through? Hopefully it's a more seamless process than what we're seeing with the $1,200 economic stimulus check. Based on what I've heard from others that went through the EIDL loan process, it sounded a lot more seamless. But you know, I'm curious to hear your experience, your words. I know the Wealth Hacker Nation would greatly appreciate anything that you have to share. All right, y'all, hope you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Jeff Rose reminding you that it's your money, it's your life, and only you can make it awesome. Just don't depend on the government too much because they run out of money.